Okay, so today we're going to do some HTML, CSS web page design revision. Um, so you don't have to be able to learn to do some of the things I'm going to demonstrate now, but I still want you to kind of see this. So what we're trying to do here is meet this criteria so that you can understand that server-side scripting languages can be used, and also understand that client-side scripting languages can be used. And then what you do have to do in practice is be able to use HTML and CSS. So that will come into this as well. So we can use Replit from this, and you can start a new HTML, CSS, JavaScript project. So this is one of the things about HTML5. It kind of works in tandem with CSS and works in tandem with JavaScript. And you can now do almost everything with just those three languages. So what should you know? So we define a HTML page using the HTML tag. So HTML is made up of tags. The kind of thinking behind the way the page works needs to be contained inside the head. And then everything you actually see on the page is inside the body. So if I want something to appear, I can write it in the body. And then if I press run, I should be able to see hello on the page, right? So what else do we know? We should know that if I do P, this makes a paragraph, and then what I can do is kind of set up two paragraphs. And what are some of the other tags you might need to know? Well, you might need to be able to do a list, for example, using the li tags and the ol or the ul tags. What this does is saying, okay, make all of these things into a ordered list. The first list item is 1, the second list item is 2, and it will number them because it's an ordered list. So what I want to have a go at doing is kind of making a simple website. It's going to be called let me just think of an idea. Okay, H1, your favorite color. So I'm just going to start off with some HTML, and we're going to use a button, and the idea is that it's going to be a website about colors, and if you press go, it will turn your website the color that is your favorite color or something. So maybe let's do like an input box as well. Input type text. Self-closing, isn't it? Good. And then, so what we're going to code it to do is I'm going to be able to type in red, and then we're going to press go. And the idea is that the background should change color. So this is to get for you to have some experience of understanding client-side scripting, and then we'll look at server-side scripting afterwards. All right, so let's start off with some CSS. So you only need to know how to do embedded styles, so not external styles. So we can use the style tag inside the head section to set up some rules. An example of a rule might be, okay, every time there is a heading 1, I might want to do something like set the font size to 100 and set the color to dark blue or something like that. And if I run this now, I've got a really big heading. Let's change the font type as well. So the way you do that is with family, font family. Let's see if we've got Comic Sans NS. Is that a web font? A web-enabled font? Oh, it is. Right. Okay, good. So now I want to set up a rule for the background. And because the background is just of the whole page, what I can do is I can style the body. So let's just set this up. It won't make a difference now, but the background color is just going to be white. And the idea is that I'm going to code the JavaScript so that when I press on the button, whatever is in the box, it's going to then change the CSS code to change the background of the page. Okay, so what do we need to do next? Let me just show you one more thing that you need to kind of know for your syllabus. As well as styling elements like this. We're just styling the whole heading 1, or every heading 1. We're styling the whole of the body. You also need to be able to select certain things, for example, words, and give them their own properties. So the syntax for that in HTML is to use a class. For example, I might make a class called special, and now whilst this is all heading 1, the span which is wrapped around the word color will be the only bit that will have this rule of special. So if you're using a class, then the way that you write the rule is a little bit different. You need to say dot beforehand, and this is the syntax. Let me just add a comment. So in CSS, I can add a comment like this. And then this will apply to anything that has a class of special. So what can we do? Let's maybe change the font of this word. Let's make it Courier New. And let's change the color of this word. Let's make it dark green. Okay. Amazing user interface design. So that's basically it. So the HTML content mostly goes inside the body, the structure of the page, what some other tags like image, for example, you might need to use. And then the CSS will go inside the style. You can write the CSS in different places, but for the purpose of your syllabus, you should just be writing it in the style inside the head. There are some HTML elements that go inside inside the head section as well. So for example, the title. But this is typically anything that needs to happen before the main page loads. So what setting the title does, if I preview my page in a separate tab like this, you can see at the top, whatever I put in the title tag will go inside the name of the tab. All right, so now let's move on to some client-side code. And this is just for a demonstration. This is just for you to be able to understand this criteria. You don't have to learn to do it. So we've got CSS inside the style section. And we put JavaScript inside the script section. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to write a function called change color. And the idea is that the change color function is going to get the background of the page and change the color of it. So what's really helpful with website development is you can use the developer tools on your web browser to be able to do this, or to help kind of work things out. So let's have a look at, see if I can select the background, get element by tag name body. Does that work? I'm just testing a function. Elements. Oh, good. And I can see because I've got a result, then this function works. So I can just select the body using document.getElementsByTagName and passing in the argument body. So again, don't worry about too much if you're finding this confusing. This is just how JavaScript works. We've got a function and we pass in a parameter and it's going to give me a result. Let body equal to body. What's important in JavaScript is at the end of every statement you add a semicolon. So what I should now be able to do is change the attribute. So again, I'm just going to test it here. And let's see if I can change the color. Body dot add CSS style. Set attribute. So again, this is something that I might need to look up. Set attribute of an element, JavaScript. Spent a lot of my kind of amateur programming using something called jQuery without using JavaScript. So sometimes how to do things are not as obvious. So it is set attribute. Wait, this is the web API. This is something else. Oh no, it is set attribute. Okay, should just be able to say set attribute. Okay, body dot set attribute, and then we can say something like set the style, and then the background color inside the style should go yellow. So let's just test and see if that works. So now if I call my function, I'm hoping, oh, it didn't work. Body.setAttribute is not a function. And, oh, okay. So the thing about getElements by tag name is that it always returns an array, because there might be more than one. Most tags have more than one. Body is something that only ever has one element, but other things have multiple. So I actually need to get the first one in the list. So I need to say body should be this, and then the first thing in the list is the thing. Let's try change color. Oh, it works. Okay, so happy. All right, so let me take that and then put it in here, have those changes. So now the thing that we need to program is the kind of client-side scripting of making it so that when we click the button, it runs the JavaScript function. And even better, rather than it always being yellow, it needs to take the text from this box. So let's stick to using classes, and let's call this one color, and let's call this one change color. Oh, I don't need to give that a class actually. Let's say on click, another attribute, on click, I want to run change color. So hopefully now that should allow me to just click and change to yellow. Good, works. So let's, we need to do running this, and we need to say, okay, before I change the color, I need to get the color from the input. So let me show you how you do that. We would say something like let color is a variable, inside the document, get the elements by, this time I'm going to use class name. And the class name is color, and the same thing, that's going to give me an array, so I need to say @0. And what I want from that is the value. So I can test, like in Python, we would use a print. I can use an alert in JavaScript. So let's just see if that works. If I say alert color, if I can see the color, then it should have worked. Oh, and it worked. That's good. This is going very well. I'm surprised. So let's just finish off this rule. So rather than setting it to yellow, I should now be able to instead use this variable color, and then whatever I type in the box, it will change the background to that color. Green and blue, good, and yellow and turquoise. I don't think I can spell that. Turquoise. Is that how you spell it? No, it's not a valid color. Aquamarine. Is that a color? Yes. All right, so this part you don't need to be able to do for your syllabus, but you just have to have an understanding of what client-side code does. So it allows you to change the functionality of an otherwise static web page. So adding functionality, doing something dynamic without reloading the page. You do have to be able to set up the structure of a page using HTML, and then also set up the style of the page using CSS.